So I recently picked up a J&L Oil Separator kit for my 1988 Mustang. It's a pretty nice kit. There's install instructions all around. Pretty easy to install. Comes with your oil separator, which has a removable section here. And it comes with a bracket setup. This kit is intended for 86 to 93 fuel-injected Mustangs. Now, if you've seen the install videos for this, you'll note that this bracket installs on the pinch weld. There's a bolt hole in the corner, pretty much in the area where the EGR valve is, towards the passenger side, that this is intended to bolt to. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably already know that the Maximum Motorsports strut tower brace also connects to that same area. So one of the questions I had, as well as others, is whether or not this kit will work with the Maximum Motorsports strut tower brace in place. So let's find out. So here we are at the car, and I've set you up on a pretty good view of the bolt in question here. This is the bolt that you're supposed to use to bolt the oil separator kit to the pinch weld. Now, as you're aware, Maximum Motorsports uses the same bolt, but you can see here from this shot that there's nothing really in front of the bolt that would restrict how it mounts. It might be a little bit of tight clearance in the back, but you can take a grinder to simply clear the bracket as needed. But if it was not for that AC line there, then you can pretty much come in here and take that bolt hole there and pretty much install the bracket as is, like the instructions say, with no changes. But depending on your car, you may or may not have an issue with the AC. Okay, so what are your potential solutions? Well, like I said, I tried to unbolt this accumulator bottle and lift the whole assembly up, but was not able to get a clearance. Now, some of you, your lines may be aftermarket, and you may have a different bend here. This may be higher, and you don't have a clearance issue at all. You simply feed the bracket in and you're good to go. I do not want to bend this line. Like I said, this is a Ford line. I have R12 in here. I don't want to take the risk of bending this line up to try and make it fit under there. I just don't want to crack something and vent all my R12 out. So what I am going to do is I'm going to use a vise to try and take the angle out of this by simply bending that out, bending that down, and relaxing that so that the distance is not as great. Like I said before, I will have to do some grinding just to make this distance a little bit smaller here for clearance. But if I reduce the height, I can easily slip this bracket under there, and that should give me all the clearance I need. So one other modification that's probably pretty obvious at this point, this bolt here on the left is the bolt that is supplied to bolt the bracket to the pinch weld. And this is the size bolt that Maximum requires for the strut tower brace. So as you can see, there is a size difference there. It just simply requires drilling this hole out a little bit larger to accommodate that bolt. Okay, step one is complete. I used a 7/16 drill bit to drill the hole out larger. Now, as you can see, the washer that I was using actually overhangs the bracket. So I don't think I'm going to need to do any grinding on this. I think all I need to do is relax this bend slightly. Instead of a 90 degree, I'm going to try coming in at a 45 degree. And I think that's all I'm going to need to do here. And here it is with my revision to the bend. Now, it does mess the anodizing up a little bit, but no big deal. So this took about 20-30 seconds in a vise to relax that. Probably not perfect, but I figure once I get it bolted down, I can just raise or lower it to tweak it where I need to be. But let's install this and see how it works. So here's the completed install of the bracket. Once I made the revision to the bend and drilled out the hole, it bolted in place quite easily. I did not need to grind any clearance for the bolt, so no changes there. But other than that, it installs pretty much like the instructions. Now, I don't have the PCV hoses connected here, but those instructions are available, pretty easy to do here. Now, the one thing here, and you might see it, is clearance on that throttle cable bracket, specifically where the AOD kickdown cable goes. If you were to notice here, the separator sits directly above that bracket, and as a result, you can't screw the bottom portion on. Now I believe this is the case because when I bent the bracket, and I can't get in there unfortunately to show you, when I bent the bracket, it moved this entire assembly forward a little bit, and that may have ruined the clearance on that bracket. You can see from the top down here that it's maybe ½ inch, ¼ inch over. But the easy solution here, since I am a 5-speed car, is I'm simply going to trim off that unused portion of the bracket. Now for AOD cars, probably what I would do here is I would completely flatten this bracket out here. Sorry, right here. Flatten it out, cut off the portion in the end, drill a new hole, and just move the entire unit in about that ½ inch. So this took about 20 seconds with a hacksaw. So this is the portion for the automatic kickdown cable. I just simply cut that off. Your cruise cable bolts up here, your throttle cable bolts here. As long as you retain those two, you should be good to go. And here is your final installed product. I trimmed the throttle cable back slightly, and it gave adequate clearance to mount this up. You can see right here that I actually trimmed it a lot more than I needed to, but it gave me what I needed. So in this current position here, there's plenty of room to access the unit for service. You can come under here, easily unthread it, move it around, pull it out, drain it, etc. So hopefully this video is of use to you. Here's an overall top-down shot. But if you're wondering if you can get the J&L Oil Separator kit in with the Maximum Motorsports strut tower brace, hopefully this video helps you out. Thanks for watching.